Crap more gang. It is that time. It is actually that time. Okay, it's not quite that time, but it's a step towards that time that a lot of people have been waiting for, a lot of people have been praying for, a lot of people thought would have come by now. But finally, we're hearing from TMZ that David is now apparently, according to private sources that are dealing with TMZ, okay, they're saying that the investigators are now viewing David as a suspect in the Celeste Rivas apparent homicide. Now, they're being very careful about their wording. I'm sure they have to. And everything in this video is my opinion. Okay, I don't want to get sued. Everything in this video is my opinion. I'm just going to give you my opinion. My opinion is that I'm delighted to hear this. That's just my opinion. My opinion is I'm actually relieved that perhaps the streets might be safe once again. Okay, perhaps there might be justice for little girls that are found dead in the trunks of celebrities' cars. And I'm not even joking. I'm not making light of it. We've all been wondering, why the hell hasn't anything been done about this? Why hasn't anything been done about... Why can you just be found with a dead body in your car? Well, now it might seem like the tide is finally turning, okay? TMZ are the ones to report it, and I've got some other reaction on other sites as always, okay? It says David is viewed as a suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas, the teenager who was found decomposing in his Tesla. Law enforcement sources with direct knowledge are telling TMZ. I'm out of breath. I ran back to my, we've all been waiting to hear this, okay? This is actually such a relief for a lot of people, in my opinion. As far as we know, there's no paperwork classifying David as a suspect, but as one of our sources told us, investigators are looking at David as a suspect. So all of those posts that you saw on Instagram talking about David's cleared of any wrong, cleared, yeah, sure. You know, what happened to all these posts? You remember all these posts going around? This wasn't the only one. It was post after post after post after post, suspiciously. Oh, David's not named as a murder suspect. Oh, no, couldn't possibly be. No evidence, just a photo and some text. Just a photo and some text. Well, now we've got a different photo and some text, okay? And they're saying, even though there's no paperwork, the job is being done. The authorities are taking this seriously. It says we're also told they're viewing Celeste's death as a homicide. Even though the medical examiner has yet to determine the cause or manner of death, investigators are still awaiting the toxicology results. One source claims the police investigation revealed that around the spring of 2025, David took a trip in the middle of the night to a remote area of Santa Barbara County and remained there for several hours. We've not double-sourced that information. It's also unclear why a spring trip would be on the LAPD's radar now. They're inferring something happened on this trip, right? We've seen him have that creepy video of him waving at the hotel. We've seen, you've seen me. If you followed all the videos, you've seen me trekking the route from Texas to Los Angeles and the route through New Mexico that goes through this creepy... Now they're saying that there was a remote trip in the middle of the night to Santa Barbara County and he was just out there for hours. What's that all about? They're saying we've not been able to find a photo or video of Celeste since September 2024. It says David was living in the Hollywood Hills rental home. Cops searched the property for blood evidence and his Tesla was abandoned on a nearby street and towed to an impound lot where Celeste's body was later found in the front trunk. They've got everything, all right? Delete everything. It's too late. All right, it's too late to delete everything, right? But they've got the footage. They've got the throwback of her on the stream, all right? We're finally getting it taken seriously, man. This is such great news for justice. You know, they've replaying this.
Yo, wait.
Oh, look it. Answer that one. That's so mean if you don't answer
Which
that.
one? What's good, David? Big fan, big spot me. Yo, thank you, Mitochondria. Appreciate you.
I gotta stop with him if you even...
We
need to delete this.
Maz, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too?
No, you can't. It can't be deleted. None of this can be deleted, unfortunately, okay? This basically is going to break everything down, right? But essentially, this is kind of a follow-up, right? It's Tuesday. Apparently, the LAPD told TMZ on Monday that they're not close to making an arrest. They've even reached out to David's camp, but so far they've had no word back, no response, no reply. David is clearly in shambles at the moment, okay? That is in my opinion. But this news has circulated all over the place, okay? David is now being viewed as a suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas, the teenager who was found decomposing in his Tesla. It's just a marker change. Now we're seeing different text with images on it, right? Now we're seeing different text. Please confirm that David's not a... Nope, it was all good just a week ago. Same picture, different text. All right. People saying they got to make up their mind. Is he a suspect or not? You keep changing your minds every other week. It is very confusing. It is very frustrating. It is very unfair. Now, what I think is interesting, okay, is there's now a little bit more chatter going on Reddit. And, you know, this has gone around in the David 2 subreddit. Now, what's interesting about this, okay? So apparently, okay, this is news reporting via the Citizen app. And it says singer David under investigation in girl's death and is not cooperating. Okay, it's an interesting place for this to basically be getting circulated, right? People are saying, I just saw it as a headline on YouTube. I'm wondering if the LAPD has confirmed this or not. We already knew he wasn't cooperating. There's no legal paperwork for it, but people are saying they're actually getting official updates in the Citizen app. Okay, this is really what's going on, right? All LA news stations, it's breaking through major news outlets. Everybody's been waiting for this news, okay? And what I think is interesting, right? We're seeing it on ABC7. It's official, okay? This is actually being put out there. It wouldn't surprise me if the LAPD is actually officially beginning to put this out there, because they might not be far behind. They might be about to announce something big, okay? It seems like there is a bit of a PR game that seems to get played by the cops in these sorts of situations. And I think, in my opinion, an arrest could be actually coming quite soon. I don't think this will be getting pushed to so many official news outlets like this. Bear in mind, think of all the little tidbits of information and these little clues and these things that we've seen on Reddit that haven't really hit the mainstream news. But now we're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing ABC7, TMZ, apparently the Citizen app, okay? It's official. It's ABC7 certified. It's official. David is indeed considered a suspect, all right? Stop the cap. All of this cap, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute, because I feel like my theory actually might end up being correct about this. Look at this. They've even got the news footage like this. It doesn't get more official. Well, it does get more official than this, but this is very official.
Now to some breaking news. Singer David now considered a suspect in the death investigation of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. A source with knowledge of the investigation telling Eyewitness News the 14-year-old was found dead on September 8th in the trunk of a Tesla registered to the singer. After investigators found the remains, the LAPD executed a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills home where David had been staying. We still don't know how or when the teenager died. Sources are telling ABC News David is not cooperating with the investigation and has never cooperated despite what his PR reps have claimed. We will have more on these breaking developments throughout the afternoon on Eyewitness News, on air and online.
So now they're saying...
All right, hey.
Now they're saying he's not cooperated. He's never cooperated. Apparently that was a whole bunch of cap. That's very, very, very interesting. Now, something I want to show you that I've seen on Reddit going around that I think is really interesting, okay? Because this ABC7 article is kind of beat around the bush, but I just want to focus in on these Instagram posts, because I've seen dozens of these posts. This was only, this was what, like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm seeing these posts non-stop on pages. I've seen this same post on different pages, different text, same shit, different day in the last few days, all right? Damage control's going on. Now, that brings me to this post on the David 2 subreddit, okay? And this only went up 5 minutes ago, all right? But I personally do feel like this is, in my opinion, valid, all right? Let's read this post, because I felt like this is what was going on. David has been online astroturfing and attempting to sway public perception in his favor this whole time. Arrest this man immediately. The actual truth in this case was attacked the most across internet platforms, Reddit especially. Look at the downvote brigades, comment aggression, follow the digital footprints. If you mention anything regarding David's connection to certain entities and groups of people in Hollywood, or his weird interests and hobbies that inspire his music, you were attacked by his hired guns. David should know as well as anyone, this world operates like yin and yang. For all the darkness this man and the cult that he's connected to have caused, there will be light on the other side that shines through the end. Now, all the yin and yang, light on the other side kind of things, okay? It says, yup. And he even had people infiltrate these subs. If you pay attention, you know who's in the comments. They are the deniers. Now, all of the yin and yang stuff, I'm not really like, I'm spiritual, but I don't know about all of that. But I do think that there was an astroturfing campaign going on. I do think that there was a lot of suspicious defenses, a lot of suspicious posts, and things that just didn't quite add up in this situation. Now, before I get into any more reaction, I did get a little bit of flack for what I did in my previous video where I was looking at the Google, like the Google searches, right? And I just wanted to say that this is interesting. Somebody else kind of followed up with this. They said Google trend results. It is highly suspicious that somebody was searching for the name of Celeste Hernandez in California and Texas on February the 5th, March 16th, and March 27th, and August the 3rd. It would be great to know where David was during these times and what digital footprint might correlate with this information. Now, it looks like this person actually had a better search than me. Celeste Hernandez. I think I did search that, but maybe I didn't have the kind of the parameters right. But anyway, that's not really what we're interested in. What we're interested in really is these two posts. Okay, these are the two biggest posts. We're going to get everybody's reaction to this news on Reddit, in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez subreddit, and also in the David 2 subreddit. And I think people are just going to be just going crazy, basically. You know, they're reposting just all of the backstory from the link that we've already read on TMZ. People are saying, F his friends. It seems like they're officially saying she was dismembered in the NBC article and that he may have had help. His effing friends are posting all over TikTok like nothing is wrong, especially Asia. They're saying she recently deactivated her IG. Maybe this news is why. Somebody posted a screenshot earlier. Must be a glitch. Saying she even posted a weird story. Yeah, everyone's replaceable, but not me, though. You'll feel it deep down whenever you're alone. Yikes. Okay. Yikes. All right, people are bringing up that old screenshot of her apparently being informed. This is another article. This is at NBC Los Angeles. Is it the one we were just looking at, or is this a different one? This is the one they're saying now officially that she was dismembered and that he had help. Oh, no. Oh, no. Wait a minute. Let's watch the news report and then let's read this article.
The LAPD has identified singer David as a suspect in connection with the death of a missing teen. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annabelle Sedano. An LAPD source with direct knowledge of the investigation told NBC4 Investigates that singer David has been identified as a suspect in connection with the death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas and that David is not cooperating with their investigation. This all started on September 8th when a decomposed body was found in the front trunk of a Tesla in a tow yard here in L.A. The car was registered to David. It had been impounded after someone reported the vehicle abandoned in the Hollywood Hills. The remains were identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, who had been reported missing by her family in Lake Elsinore last year. Police tell NBC4 Investigates that Rivas likely died in the spring and that David likely had help to dismember and dispose of the body. We're continuing to track new developments in the case. We'll have new details on the NBC by her family in Lake Elsinore last year. Police tell NBC4 Investigates that Rivas likely died in the spring and that David likely had. Police tell NBC4 Investigates that Rivas likely died in the spring and that David likely had help to dismember and dispose of the body. We're continuing to track new developments.
Whoa. They just said that the police directly told NBC that she died in the spring and that he had help to dismember and dispose of her body. It's not just David that's cooked. There's going to be a few people that are cooked. Could be people that are working at the label. Could be people that are in his little friendship group. Could be some of these fools on Instagram. Some of these fools in Discord. This is crazy. This is major. This is the biggest thing I've seen in a long time, honestly. They're really saying she was dismembered. The same source. So this is an official source, an LAPD source with direct knowledge. And it seems like NBC are getting a better source and better information than TMZ. I'm not going to lie. They got the exclusive. We didn't see this on TMZ. An LAPD source, that's an official source. That's not a leak. That's not, oh, my cousin works for the LAPD and I heard around the break room. That is an official source. He had help dismembering and disposing of the body. Other people are going to be sucked into this. And you know what? I'll keep it real. I think that the reason that they're revealing this now officially is because they're going to watch. They're going to watch where everybody scatters to, right? Everybody's going to scatter. The friends, people that helped dismember the body, David himself. Everybody's going to scatter, and they're all going to be under surveillance. The cops are going to be watching every single one of them, and they're going to watch everything that they all do. They're going to be listening to what they're all saying, and they're cooked, and they're going to pick them up. Now, bro, I can't believe it. I can't believe what I'm seeing, honestly. It's actually crazy. It is actually crazy. They're officially saying she was dismembered and they had help. A lot of the people supporting him and his team are astroturfing, and kids think this is a video game. Anyone with a conscience and a developed enough brain knows that a human body doesn't end up in a Tesla without something violent and disturbing happening, especially in pieces. It's effing sad, some of the stuff that people say due to a parasocial relationship. I've seen comments on YouTube that make my skin crawl. This person said, I've noticed that people talk a big game about hating PDFs and they're thought of as some creepy old men, but once the PDF breaks that mold or is someone they like, then the victim blaming starts. Same for murderers. People will jump through hoops to justify a stranger committing a crime. People saying this is insane, so the reports of not having her other finger with the David tattoo might be true. Wow. They're saying that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like what we thought at the very beginning, dismembered and likely had help, and she died in the spring, were all true. But LAPD silence had everyone second guessing. I wonder why they didn't dispose of her fully. What a bunch of freaks. Him and his friends. Justice is coming. Says LAPD have also been leaking or withholding info to try and bait David. This has been the most obvious thing. When they kept saying they could have had no other charges outside of tampering with a dead body, they wanted to bait him into admitting the easiest, lowest charge. People are saying, from what I've seen, Steve Fisher, private investigator the house owner hired, say was that from his investigating, he thinks that the Tesla was just a temporary holding place for Celeste and that she hadn't made it yet to the actual burial place or whatever because the car got towed and the original plan for her body placement got ruined somehow or something along those lines. Maybe that's what was in Santa Barbara. Good point. Where is Santa Barbara? Let me look that. Okay, so Santa Barbara, it's just kind of like northwest of Los Angeles here. And, yeah, so apparently he made a random trip up to Santa Barbara in the middle of the night and just was out there for hours. Okay, that's a little bit weird, isn't it? That's a little bit weird. They're saying if he'd been keeping her since the spring, that's insane. I wonder if my original thoughts about a freezer being used here may true. Now, look, I feel like I'm a little bit dyslexic, but I'd be getting spring and all the different seasons mixed up. Let me Google this. Okay, so spring officially is typically beginning around March the 20th or 21st. Meteorologically, it's considered to be in the months of March, April, and May, with the first day being. So they're saying that she was killed like all the way back in March, April, or May. Damn, that's messed up, man. They're saying the finger was missing. Apparently, her body wasn't whole, but that was a rumor we don't really know because they kept changing it. I remember they said it was misinformation, and now this. Maybe they were just trying to get him comfortable enough to not leave. The way they're handling this case is very strange, to say the least. An LAPD source with direct knowledge of the investigation told NBC4 Investigates the Houston artist has not been cooperative. I wonder what this means, because cooperating usually just means the bare minimum. Probably refused to talk with them anymore is my guess. Saying, can they arrest him now? I hope they apprehend him quick. I think an arrest is going to come soon after this, if I'm honest with you. It said they said an arrest does not seem imminent. They just have enough to build a case, but they might need more evidence to get charges that stick and are hard to be litigated against. They're saying for murder, not until they've cemented his involvement with proper evidence and it's confirmed she was murdered. He's a potential suspect in a potential homicide. His arrest charge needs to match her cause of death, if that makes sense. He was arrestable for a multitude of charges out the gate, and it's just up to the prosecution and state's attorney as to what they want to try in court. Also, this is not a direct stamp from the cops, press release, or something of the sort. So it's a source that told TMZ. Well, it's actually bigger than a source that told TMZ. Now we're actually getting, Did ABC have their own source, or are they just parroting what TMZ said? The singer David's considered a suspect. A source with knowledge told Eyewitness News on Tuesday. So they're actually, what's happening here, right? We're seeing TMZ, ABC Eyewitness News, and NBC. They're all saying that they're having direct contact with the LAPD, who are giving them this information. So this is official. This isn't, some guy that knows Harvey from TMZ said that he thinks. This is official. Like this, bruh. He's cooked, in my opinion. He's cooked, in my opinion, okay? They're saying hopefully he doesn't take the weak way out. What a coward. Finally, what was he doing in Santa Barbara? They're saying fork found in the kitchen. In other news, water is wet. We all knew, all right? We all knew that this was coming eventually. Listen, this might be the remote area from the spring trip they were talking about. The visual for his song, There Goes My Baby, shows a remote place with mountains, nature, and a wide landscape, and the song was heavily influenced by her. This place was probably a special spot for him where he was with her and found inspiration from Celeste. People are saying arrest is imminent. No way would they allow this information to be leaked if he wasn't going to be arrested very soon. They say agreed. I hope he's suffering right now. I can just imagine David reading all this, realizing he's really, you're cooked. David, it's over, buddy. You cooked, right? You cooked. You sauteed. We preheat the oven to 500, and it's over with. Yikes, what's the significance of Santa Barbara in the middle of the night? I doubt he drove her there and killed her and then brought her back. This seems like a complete change from there's only a body concealment charge. People saying, I'm just making a totally random guess, but I wonder if he went there to dispose of the body and changed his mind. If they knew he went there, then maybe he realized it was a little too late and aborted his plan, knowing they could retrace his steps. I don't know. This is a wild report, though. I've always suspected he had some kind of help and that others were also present during her death due to him leaving her in the abandoned vehicle. I assume he was expecting someone to deal with it for him, and that just didn't happen. So I hope that if others were there, they're also held accountable. I think they might be, you know. It says, we've not been able to find a photo or video of Celeste since September 2024, but SF Investigates found her last proof of life on January the 2nd of this year. I'm a little confused. Well, this is the first they're leading towards homicide, right? TMZ are scum, but they're usually reliable. It's not just TMZ. There's other sources, all right? Other sources. Okay, so that's basically everything interesting. People saying, is this why Asia deactivated her IG, but the others are saying it's still there? There's just a lot going on right now. Like, I'm just locked in. Like, what the hell? And then they're talking about the dismemberment situation again. It says, this is insane to me because it explains why he was crying in that one clip where he was singing Afterlife on stage. His album Withered, also released on April the 25th. That would have been right. That would have been right in the spring. Man, this sick fuck was keeping her somewhere for 5 to 7 months while he lived life pretending everything was all right. That's insane. And making effing music about it, literally about her withered body. What a freak. Yeah, the album was called Withered. Bro, the album was called Withered, bro. What the bro, the album is... Man, this is so fucked up. This makes it all the more insane. I really thought she'd been dead for only a few weeks, which made all of his weird, creepy album death stuff was not a direct confession. It's some voodoo level stuff. I swear he did this as some sort of sacrifice for his album. People are going to call you crazy for this, but I do think this is the kind of weird stuff that David would do considering everything we know. This lines up with this Redditor's timeline I screenshotted. I'm sorry I don't remember who made it, but they did a great job. Shout out Pouty Bitch X. Wait a minute. So they're saying that the... No way. No way! Wow. So they're saying that if the cops are now saying that it would have happened, what is it, spring? Which starts around March 20th or 21st, but officially starts on March the 1st. And then they're basically saying that March... See, I thought the pregnancy rumor was just completely put to bed. They're saying this was the day when Celeste previously said that the baby was due. When your man turns into your baby daddy. Nah. So the day that the baby was supposedly due is exactly when spring starts. And the police are now confirming for real. The police are confirming that it happened in the spring. And that he'd been... What? What? And then Celeste was potentially killed, indicating her body was stored in April 2025. They've got it exactly right. And then David performs at Coachella. David and Celeste first mention of a breakup and Celeste no longer in the server. David releases the Withered album on April the 25th. Wow. David performs in Texas, April 27th. The car was reportedly seen on the street moving spots. Celeste's body estimated to be left in the car. Tagged in a swag post with Celeste Herrera. She was potentially killed or placed in the car, and then he starts doing the Itami thing, and he keeps going performance. Celeste supposedly last liked David's Instagram. So it sounds like, in my opinion, he had her phone and was liking posts of his own. That's psychopathic if that's true. And then it says performing in San Francisco with a casket and hearse funeral. And this a creepy video at the motel. I can't believe what I'm seeing, honestly. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. I'm going to wrap it up in a minute, but this is actually just insane. This is actually insane. That's wild. Wow. How has he not been dropped from anything? Label, manager, agent, shady as F aftermath. He definitely will. Aye, who knows if some of the people from his label might be going down with him. They have everything in place and it'll operate like a well-oiled machine. Anything he ever did or does will be profiting. A record label at no cost in perpetuity. The movie deals and licensing royalties will be shielded in a trust designed to thwart civil suits, and way down the road, an insurance claim and scholarship fund. A new Gulfstream jet for the label execs. As David is killed in jail, that paves a way for a lifetime movie deal starring Jaden Smith and Jenny Ortega. That is a very vivid imagination that person has. It's becoming more and more apparent that David probably killed her, and it wasn't just some silly little OD. I've said it since the beginning. Until there's actual proof and not speculation that she OD'd, I'm heavily leaning towards him murdering her. The writing is on the wall. NBC LA literally says, please tell NBC4 investigates that the death likely occurred in the spring and David likely had help dismembering the body. The effer did it, like we all knew. Finally, an actual update. Hope they get this PDF and his entire entourage. Where's that person who was talking about Coachella? I forgot their name, but they theorized Celeste was with David and crew at Coachella, and then something happened. Very interesting. I'm also relieved the cops are onto him and whoever else. I hope these little bitches are scared. Now, okay, so look, I'm gonna just pull one thing up. Okay, I'm gonna pull. Actually, I'm gonna pull two things up. Okay, there was a post that I saw before all of this went down, talking about the pregnancy theory, right? It said they were sure quick to rule out that she wasn't pregnant. Can someone explain this to me? They could tell she wasn't pregnant, yet nothing from the medical examiner about cause of death. If the body was too far decomposed for toxicology, how could they tell she was pregnant? They're saying bone samples, pelvis, hormone levels. But the timeline's talking about that's when she would have had her baby that she was talking about in Discord, right? So that's just one thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was really interesting, okay? And then the other thing that I wanted to bring up is basically just everybody's been calling out David's circle, right? In the lead up to this, I did think it was interesting. Oh, come on. Come on, man, the cover-up. Do you think it's weird no one in David's circle called him out? This was a whole post, right? They've deleted it now. They keep deleting posts. Can you just give it a rest with deleting these posts? Like, we're trying to get to the truth here. Can't call him out when you're in on it too, or knew about it and did nothing. They don't care about David or Celeste. They care about what type of life he gave them. Broke MFs. All right. This was a whole post breaking it down, how no one in David's circle called him out, how everyone's kind of running defense for him. And I think people in David's circle are going to go down in a big way. So sad to say, it's not weird only because I personally believe all of David's closest friends with him are either accomplices or PDFs themselves for not saying anything. Their whole group is corrupt. People saying literally, where there's smoke, there's fire. Wouldn't be surprised if there were more minors he was speaking to. Hell, the whole group. He was apparently prowling around Discord for underage girls, some of which apparently had relationships. They're all hiding like guilty people. Someone has to break. This person saying, I find it extremely weird and I wonder if they're collaborating with the authorities. I hope they are, since they failed Celeste when she was alive. The least they could do is help her get justice. Somehow they all had to interact with her at some point, considering the fact that Celeste can be seen in a lot of pictures and attending shows. They had to be around her. So yeah, the fact they're not talking about it at all, not even an RIP message to her family, kind of makes me believe they were all involved somehow. It's weird that no one acknowledged her passing in his circle. They had to know something, whether it was about knowing her real age or about what happened to her. They're all covering their tracks and probably all lawyered up, hence why we don't hear from them. Because they were advised to just shut up. They all seem to lack humanity, to be honest, and I just can't wait for justice to be served piping hot. Everyone was definitely advised not to speak to anyone about anything concerning this case by lawyers. You're absolutely right. At the very least, the people close to him saw this underage girl everywhere he went. At the most, they were into trafficking underage girls to semi-famous rich pedophiles. I'm sure his Klingons saw much more than that in terms of him interacting with Celeste in a way that was much more inappropriate than just any fan or artist. Justice for Celeste, harsh punishments for the people involved. And this wasn't the only post. Unfortunately, this post has been deleted, and it actually boils my blood when these Redditors just delete these posts. It's like, these are important. This wasn't... Wait. That wasn't the post I thought it was. Hang on. All right, my bad. I thought I had another link there, but that is actually all of the links that I have, okay? We finally got the update we're looking for. These details are absolutely crazy, okay? He's officially been named as a suspect. I think they're going to move in for an arrest very quickly. I think more people from his circle are going to be implicated in this. The police said themselves to the news stations. They've reported and they've briefed all of these news organizations. They've said very clearly that he had help. He was going to get rid of the body, allegedly, and that the murder seemingly happened in the spring, and she was dismembered. It's absolutely crazy, okay? I will keep you guys updated. There might be an update in a few hours. We might be seeing David get arrested in the next few hours. I'm not going to cap. Like, that actually might happen. I'm going to be on red hot alert. Okay, so I'll keep you guys updated. All right, this just mind blown. Actually, honestly, mind boggled. We're finally getting somewhere with this, man. Finally going to see some justice. So rest in peace to Celeste Rivas Hernandez, man. We're hopefully going to actually see some justice in this situation, and I will keep you guys updated. But this was one of the bigger updates that we'd all been waiting for, and I'll be sure to bring you the next update when it happens. I appreciate you guys. Catch you in the next video, and I'm out here. Peace.